Alright, how's everybody doing today? It's Luke here from Luke Key Gaming, and today I have a Rocket League 2v2 tutorial for you, so without further ado, I say we just jump right in and get started. Okay, so to start this tutorial off, I'm going to list off 4 things I believe you need to know before we get into the strategy part of playing 2's. And those 4 things are following up with the ball, passing the ball, pressuring the ball, and taking your chances. Alright, so what I mean by following up on the ball is that you don't realize how many chances you actually have to get a solid rebound or even just a lucky bounce just by following the ball after you hit it. And so what I mean is, like, if you bank it off the ground and it's going like off the ceiling or something, it's worthwhile to follow it and try and get the bounce, the rebound, because a lot of times you'll be surprised at how many times you'll get a good bounce and you can just easily snipe it in. And I'll provide examples for all of the tips I show you here. So I'm going to roll some clips here and hopefully you get a better understanding of what I'm trying to say. Okay, so next is passing, and passing is kind of complicated in a way because there's 2 ways of doing it. One is obviously on the ground, and the next is like through the air. But if you can't if you can't do that, then it's very understandable. I really can't do it that well either. But passing on the ground can be actually very useful. The only thing you have to watch out for is people intercepting it, because if you do it too often, then it's pretty easy to catch on. But I have an example of both an in-air pass and a ground pass, and the reason this is so effective in 2's is because oftentimes, like, the other team will be so far apart from each other that you can easily just get past them, or they'll either be too far from each other or too close to each other, and you can just take them out. Pretty simple. I just think it works extremely well in 2's. I've never played 3's, so I couldn't tell you, but I know for a fact it's a good way of getting goals, or at least getting it in their half. So again, I'm going to roll some clips here for you to see. Alright, so next we have pressuring the ball, and this is the big one, if not probably the biggest in this entire tutorial, because when I learned to do this myself, it really just brought me to the next level. And the reason I started doing it was because I was kind of tired of having everybody just like pass the ball around me and just like I don't even touch the ball and the ball goes in the back of my net. It's just annoying. So I learned to like really bring the heat on the other team, so to speak. Like, really just get in their face and don't let them make the passes and stuff. And I'll show you what I mean here in these examples, but you really got to bring it to them. And it kind of throws them off, actually, I feel like, because they don't have time to make up their mind on what they want to do. They just hit the ball. And if you can, like, focus that and know what you're doing, then you're on fire. And you'll see it here in the examples. As much as you may want to be pressuring the ball all the time in 2's, you can't really do that because you have to remember that you have a teammate and you have to worry about your spacing, because you never want to be in the same spot as your teammate in 2's, or else you're completely screwed pretty much. But one thing like you should focus on is that if you see your teammate, even if you're not like in commentary or like on mic or whatever, if you see your teammate going for the ball, you want to like hang close to him. You don't want to be on the other side of the map, of course, but you want to be close enough to him that if he makes a decent pass or even a bad pass, you can still probably pick it up and clean it up for him. And that way, like, you're both close enough to the ball that if he can't get to it, you definitely will. And I don't know if these examples really prove that here, but I'll show you what I got for you. Alright, so last but not least, we have taking your chances. And what I mean by this is when you think you have like a slim chance, maybe like 15-20% chance of scoring a goal, you should really take the opportunity if you're in their zone, because honestly, it won't cost you much if you're in their half and you've got someone behind you. As long as your teammate's behind you, I really think you should go for it. I used to never take those chances, and it didn't really hurt, but I mean, I didn't realize how many goals I actually could have scored just by going for it. Like, I'm not the best, and I didn't know that I'd even be able to score some of these goals, but the ones here I'll show you in the examples is like exactly what I'm trying to get across here. You should just go for it. If you have a teammate behind you and you're in their half right by their goal, I say you go for it. Don't hesitate, just jump up. If you miss, whatever, move back. You'll probably be alright. Okay, so in 2v2s, you never have a set position. And I'm going to start off with what to do when you're off the ball. And basically, like a thought you can always keep in your head is that you always want to be close enough to your partner that if the ball pops out, like if he gets challenged or something, then you're far enough away that it won't go over your head, but you're close enough that you can easily like keep possession and keep the play going. And you want to know where everybody is on the field, because if you see that he's not being challenged and the other guys are getting boost or something, that's when you want to pass your partner so he can pass it forward to you, if he's thinking like that. Anyways, most people do. But yeah, if you're in front of him, then he can easily make a pass to you and you guys can have a really great play going and an easy scoring opportunity. But if you constantly stay behind him all the time, there's no room for him to pass because he can't pass behind him. So you want to be at least equal or ahead of him so he knows where you are. But that's only if you feel like there's a passing opportunity. If you see that he's most likely going to get challenged, I would stay a little behind him or off to the side a little bit so you can easily just come and pick up the scraps. Alright, so when you're on the ball, you basically never want to just like smoke it for no reason. You want to always know where your partner is and try to at least hit it towards him. The only exception is when you're on defense and you think that you're getting like bombarded with shots, then that's probably a good time just to clear it out. And that's like pretty common whenever you're on defense. It's always a good idea to get a clearance. But other than that, you always want to be looking for your partner and making passes. And I think it's a great idea to go up the wall and like pass it off the wall, because honestly, like, it's really hard to stop those passes. I would know from personal experience. And I find they work the best because they have the most time in the air, and usually they drop nicely for your teammate. But I mean, passes on the ground or in the air, we talked about that before. They both work. It just depends on how good the other team is, really. And also, when you're on the ball and there's no one around you, it's okay. You don't have to panic and just boot it. You can easily just dribble it. Even if you're not that good at dribbling, it's pretty easy to just push the ball up the field. And then when you find someone is close, that's when you want to pass it off or take it up the wall and hope for a nice pass. But even even if you're not sure where your partner is, it's still a way better idea than just booting it up the field, because all that really accomplishes is basically just giving possession to the other team, or if you're lucky, you can get a nice goal, but I wouldn't risk it. Alright, so the next big thing about 2's is your spacing and your pressure. You never want to be too far away from your teammate. If he crosses it in the box and you're like way at the back getting boost, then the cross is just wasted and you just lost possession. And it goes for the same when you're on the ball. You don't really want to cross it unless your teammate's there. But I mean, a lot of times you just don't have a choice, so there's not much you can do about that. Another thing to note is that when the enemy team has the ball, you want to be like pressuring them like crazy, and you don't want to give them any time to make their passes or whatever, because especially when you're playing against really good players, they basically know what they're doing and they know how to pass in the air and on the ground, and you want to stop that before it even starts, so you can't allow them to gain chances and keep possession and stuff. You want to really like bring the heat to them and keep pressuring them. I know I said that in the beginning, but I do believe it's probably the biggest part of this entire tutorial. And if there's anything you remember, it should probably be that. So just keep that in mind when you're playing, that you want to be close enough to your teammate that he can make passes to you, but you don't want to be too close that if he gets challenged, it's going over your head too, and they have a pretty much free open net behind you. So keep a good distance, not too far, not too close. Never stay in one spot. Always be moving around like crazy. Keep them on their toes, and you should be pretty good at this game. Just keep practicing, and I know you'll get there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Peace.